Hello there, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made a bunch of Christmas cards. I didn't want to I haven't got one or two Christmas cards to do this year. I've got a lot of Christmas cards that I want to give out to students and to members of my barbershop choir that I've just joined. And I shall be explaining how I did these. Basically bulk made my Christmas cards. I bought pre-made card stock ages ago. Actually, I found them in my cupboard, and I made this little square. So I'm going to jazz these up a little bit, maybe using a little bit of silver pen. And I made these in slightly different ways, and I'll show you how I made them using masking fluid and like a crayon. It's like a clear crayon. What this does is it sort of repels the water and the colour, so it doesn't go over the bits that you've done. So you can do different layers. So I did different layers, built up different layers. I put masking fluid down on one piece of paper. I did only 2 bits of A4 for all of these Christmas cards. I've got loads of Christmas cards now. So 2 bits of A4, did some lovely snowflake designs in masking fluid and with wax crayon. Went over with coloured paper. Oh look, this looks like I've got a bit of a hat. I'll put that back up. Anyway, if you've got any questions, then let me know in the comments. And if you could please like and subscribe to my channel, I would be very grateful. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so this is the first page, which I've used this masking fluid fine liner for. I'm using just photos of snowflakes that I found from the internet as my inspiration for the snowflakes. They all look similar. It's sort of like 6 prongs with various bits and pieces hanging off. And I'm trying to use different sized snowflakes just to add a little bit of interest and dot them around the page, because I know that I'm going to be dividing this page up into little squares. So ultimately I divided this entire page up into 7 by 7 centimetre squares. I liked this fine liner because you can see where you've gone and it's very clear, whereas with a wax crayon, you'll see in a minute, it was very difficult to see where I'm going. In fact, it looks like I'm just drawing with invisible marker on a white page. So this is the first layer. After this dries, I add in a separate layer, but whilst it's drying, I put it on the radiator for a bit. Whilst it's drying, then I started off with the wax snowflakes. So I'll move on to the wax crayon. So look at this. Can you see the snowflakes? No, nor can I. And I could not see the snowflakes as I was doing them either. And that's even with me moving around the light, sort of trying to find the shine off of the wax. It was very difficult. So I liked the effect of the wax crayons because it produces quite like a broken line, but very difficult to ultimately use and get some clear snowflakes. Here with the wax, I've kept with the wax because it doesn't obviously need to dry, and I've just done initial coats of the blue, and now I'm going over the wax again. So now it's going to resist these snowflakes that I'm doing slightly smaller ones, so that's going to keep the blue, the light blue of the paper, so that now if I go over with another colour like I'm doing now, you can see those other snowflakes pop out, and they look further behind because they're slightly they're slightly coloured. And I'm using slightly darker paint around the edges of the snowflakes just so that they can really pop. Now have some fun with these paints, splash around, dot different colours in. Wet on wet is a really fun technique to play with. So now I've gone back to the masking fluid because it's dried now. I've wet the paper first so that I can apply the paint and I'm not going to get any streaky lines. I've used quite strong colours, and I'm trying to make them stronger around the sides of the masking fluid, just like I did with the wax crayon, so that I can really get snowflakes that pop out. And I'll wait for that to dry before doing another layer. So fast forward a minute or two after I've let the paint dry, I'm just adding another set of snowflakes on. So these will have a bluey background. I'll go over the top of this in a minute with more paint, so they'll look a little bit more like they're in the background. Meanwhile, whilst I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm doing another layer of snowflakes on this wax resist one. Now, whilst the paint is still wet, what I'm doing here is applying salt, and it's just regular ground salt, the thin stuff, table salt. And you can see it having an effect already. It just sort of blotches the paper a bit, and it repels the paint. Here I am. Oh, I'm applying some iridescent watercolour medium to this. So just giving him a little bit of shine. It's not glitter, but it just provides a little bit of extra shine. Sorry, that's my cat using her scratching mat. Please ignore her. So next up, I've got my masking fluid one back, and I'm just taking that off using my thumb. It's quite tricky. Now all you need to do is just chop up those squares. I did mine 7 by 7. You can see my cat was very helpful in overlooking the procedure. Once you've got the squares, it's just a case of sticking them onto your cardstock. So I'm just using Pritt Stick. And it's just a case of making sure that if you get to all the corners and the edges, get your card and trying to line it up in the middle as best as you can. I've added a little bit of extra space at the bottom of the card so that I can write Merry Christmas. So it took a little bit of placing just to make sure that I was getting it in the right place, and even on all the sides. And voila, I decided that it would be easier to see without the white paper behind. And now I'm just checking the corners, but I think that's good. And did you see that it just glinted a little bit in the light? And that's because I put that iridescent medium on it, which is a little bit glittery, but not overwhelmingly so. So I did that with about, I don't know how many I got in the end. Absolutely dozens of Christmas cards. So it was a really good way of making multiple bulk Christmas cards. I was happy with both designs. The masking fluid was much easier, but it took longer. I think I probably prefer the effect of the wax crayon because it produces quite a broken little line. I like that. It was just very difficult to use, but if I could find a way of drawing the snowflake on first and then applying the wax crayon so that the penciled line didn't show up when I did the wax crayon, then I think that could work. So please let me know what you think of these Christmas cards. I had a great time doing them. It's really fun doing all these wet on wet designs and using the different mediums. I think they look quite effective. If you do have a go and you fancy showing me, then tag me on Instagram and I'll give you my feedback. Meanwhile, thanks for watching.